Hey guys, I'm back and we are playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Doing another Master of Mastery stream. We're going to be doing another Season 2 Reloaded weapon. This is the new melee weapon for Season 2. So, don't expect amazing gameplay. I'm just going to be running around trolling with the melee weapon for the most part on a small map mosh pit. So, yeah, that's the plan for the stream. What am I talking about? Talking about the Soulrender melee weapon that they added in this game. Yeah, Camo's completed, grind completed on this weapon. Okay, this weapon, it's kind of like interesting, but there's something you should be aware of. So there are two different swings on this weapon, okay? And one is kind of like the charged up swing, and then the other is the quick swing. For the most part, you want to be utilizing the quick swing because the charged up one has kind of a longer animation swing, and it also often will go into that kind of like finishing move animation, so it takes very long. So if you're running around with the melee weapon like you might normally be used to, you might usually be using the trigger, the right trigger, to like use your melee weapon as opposed to the melee button, because the right trigger also acts as a melee, right? Unfortunately, with this weapon, or fortunately, whatever, how you want to put it, the difference between this weapon and the regular melee weapons is the right trigger does that long animation swing, which is what you don't want to be doing when you're running around meleeing for the most part. Now, I'm not 100% certain. I was using something different, but I think the short swing is the left trigger. If you're using default controller layouts, the default controller. So the shoot trigger versus the aim down sights trigger or aim down sights button is the short swing. Now, the other way you can utilize the short swing is utilize the common melee button, like if you had a regular weapon. For me, on the default controller, it would be the R3 button by pushing down the R3 thumbstick. So that also does the short swing for the Soulrenderer. Now, for me, I've got like an elite controller, so I have back paddles. So usually I disable the thumbstick, so I have the the R3 mapped to a back paddle. So that's what I was using for the most part. That's why I didn't even realize actually the short swing is on the left trigger. But yeah, that might be something you want to be aware of, because if you're running around with the Soulrenderer and you're using it like a regular melee weapon, especially with the R3 thing, you might get killed a lot because the time to kill using the like long swing is much slower, right? The time to kill because of the full animation tied to it. Obviously, the useful aspect of the long swing for this weapon is that if you do it to someone with a riot shield, whether they've got the riot shield on the back or the front, you will kill them with that like kind of finishing move, like swing, right? So it doesn't matter how they've got the riot shield, whether they're protecting themselves from the front or the thing. If you do the charged up swing, you'll go into that finishing animation and finish them off no matter what. That being said, though, there's that long time to kill. So while doing that, you could potentially get killed by an enemy or whatever, right? So you have to use it a little wisely. But yeah, that's the main thing about the sword that you want to be aware of. Usually you want to be using that short swing so you get that quicker melee and can keep moving like without getting that long animation. Like a lot of times when I was grinding it out, I didn't realize that at first. So I would be doing the right trigger, and I'd get killed a lot because, you know, you have to first do the charge. So even if you click it really fast to like do the melee swing, the like kind of pull back and swing animation is slower than the quick swing, right? So I was getting really annoyed, and then I realized, oh, there's the long and short swing. So yeah, that's just the how to use this weapon kind of thing. For the most part, run around using the short swing. When you're in trouble and there's a riot shielder or someone with the riot shield on their back and you want to like finish them off, use the long swing. That being said, though, let's go ahead and check out what camo challenges there are to this weapon. So there's only one challenge. You do need to level up the weapon to unlock the challenge. So you need to get the Soulrenderer to level 4. which is not maxed out. Level 4 is a little under max, but once you get to that level, you'll unlock the challenge, which requires you to get 50 operator kills with the weapon. So just get kills with it and you'll unlock the Omnigenesis camo, which looks kind of cool. Definitely an interesting camo, and you can utilize this camo obviously on all your other weapons once you complete this challenge. So universal camo. Then once you've completed the base camo challenge, you'll unlock the Gilded challenge, which requires you to get 10 operator kills while being out of the enemy's line of sight. Honestly, like obviously this means getting from behind and like killing them. But I don't know if they see you and then you get behind them and then kill them, whether it counts, right? Or do you need to be out of their line of sight throughout the whole, like tracking them down and killing them? I'm not totally certain how that plays out. But yeah, 10 of them, I just run around with the like melee weapon in a small map mosh, but it occurs occasionally. The other thing about this challenge, at least when I did it, it was actually a little finicky. So if you're even slightly at an angle of the enemy, it doesn't count you as behind the enemy. You want to square up right behind them when you like swing your sword. So make sure you like get like nice and like parallel to their back or whatever and swing. Obviously, I'm sure there's a little lenience to it, but like there's times where I was like slightly on the side, but definitely out of their line of sight, and still it wasn't tracking for that, you know. Then the Forge challenge is you have to complete the Gilded challenge, have 2 Gilded challenges completed with melee weapons, and then get 10 operator kills while crouching or sliding. So yeah, just run around, either crouch and hide a corner, and when someone runs around, you can like melee them. Or what I did was just run around, sliding around, and crouch walking occasionally after the slide and try to swing my sword and get them eliminations for this challenge. Now, the Forge challenge unlocks once you complete the Gilded challenge. The Priceless challenge unlocks once you completed the Forge challenge and have 36 Forge Camo Challenges completed. And then you need to get 15 kills from behind with the Soulrender. So again, similar to the first one, this one you need to get behind them. This one clearly doesn't mention any line of sight, so I'd wager even if they see you, as long as you can get behind them and you kill them, that'll track. Now, this one was even more finicky than this other one. I think they were both equally just as finicky. But here, again, this one you want to get right behind the enemy and kill them like parallel. More so than this one. I can't remember which one. I think this one wasn't as strict as getting behind them. This one was. I think I might have mixed it up. This one you just need to be out of their line of sight and you can kill them. But you don't need to be directly behind them. Although, for the most part, you do need to be directly behind them to be out of their line of sight. And this one, you need to be like, literally like parallel to their back and then swing and eliminate them. And that's what counted, right? Whenever I was even slightly to the side, it seemed like it wasn't tracking for the challenge. Yeah, it was this one. It was this one that was super finicky about it. But yeah, I mean, it was a little annoying because it is 15 of them, and there was oftentimes I was behind them and I was just slightly to the side and it wouldn't track. So it ended up tracking a lot slower than I was expecting, even though I was getting a lot of behind kills. Maybe they'll fix that and make it a little more lenient. But yeah, when I was doing it, it was just like super like strict about being directly behind them when you think. And also just another thing is for this behind the challenge in particular, and also the Gilded challenge, don't do the charged up swing. Because what happens with the charged up swing is if you go into the like finishing move animation, the enemy turns around and it faces you and you chop the head off, right? And that'll basically be tracking for not behind them because they're facing you, right? Even though you might have got behind them and it started the animation, because they turn around and face you to like play out the animation, it doesn't track for this challenge. So definitely this one, you want to be doing the quick swings. Again, for the most part throughout the grind, you want to be doing the quick swings. Only rarely use the long swing because it is a very long time to kill when you're utilizing that swing for like finishing off like riot shielders, which is nice. Like I said, it's really annoying running around meleeing people, and then when you're on shipment or something and everyone's got the riot shield on their back, right? You just have to like ignore them because they're running around, and you can't like melee them from the back without doing a finishing move, right? So having this option is kind of an interesting take to the thing. And because of the way the charge up works and stuff like that, you don't need to like be right behind them and charge it up. You can sort of charge it up a little ahead and then go into them. So it works slightly different than the regular finishing move as far as like the process of button prompt or whatever. And then once you complete the mastery grind on this weapon and you have 36 priceless camo challenges completed, you'll unlock Interstellar. So yeah, those are the challenges, weapon challenges for the melee weapon. That's what you want to use. So this is my build for melee only in COD, I guess, when I'm running around regular maps, I guess. I don't know how valuable this is actually like in like shipment or the small map mosh pit. But I use the ninja vest to silence my footsteps and all that. Riot shield as, mainly for protection from the back. Soulrender, melee weapon of choice. And then stun grenade, throwing knife, trophy system, lightweight boots, and the EOD padding, which I'll obviously swap up. EOD padding for small map mosh pit for sure. And then maybe swap it out for something like Ghost or Cold-Blooded whenever need be, right? If I was using this in the regular like maps, like normal size maps, I'd probably switch out EOD padding for Ghost right off the bat, so I don't need to switch to it. But when playing on the small map mosh pit, EOD padding tends to help a little bit, or even maybe like the tack mask or something, depending on how the like enemies are playing it, right? But yeah. The other thing you could do is if you're playing on the regular maps and the enemies aren't calling UAVs, instead of going with Ghost, I like to also go with like Mission Control or something to reduce the score streak option. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We'll just run around small map mosh pit. I don't expect to do particularly well, but we'll have fun. Hopefully. Sometimes when you get dudied on, there's no fun to be had. This is a cool camo. I actually kind of want to see it on a regular weapon. I haven't bothered like applying it. Does it have any glow-in-the-dark properties? I do not know. Be cool if it does. I was actually planning on waiting till like they do a 24/7 shipment playlist. But whatever. Okay, this game's up. We're winning, but the game's like done. Like, I don't understand why you... I've said this many times. Just, what's it called? At a 3/4 mark of a match, stop backfilling it. Just stop backfilling it. Doesn't matter. Even halfway through, honestly. I mean, I wish they would just give you the option. At least give the option, like, do you want to backfill, like, allow backfill from 3/4 or half or more than that, right? Whichever one's... This is going to be the same one or something? Are they going to try to dump me in the same map? No, this is different. Rust is not a good map. This is a losing case on the opposite end. You know, I've been debating the value of some of my streams, like particularly the Blueprint streams and even these Master Mastery streams, right? But one thing that's kind of been the counter argument in my head is Warzone Mobile. The fact that there's going to be like the same challenges, I presume. Blueprints are going to be like carried between both games and all. And there might actually be an increase in viewership for that kind of content. I mean, most of the time I don't care about viewership and all, but it does help. It does help, like... No, what the fuck, man? No. Hey, yes. Dude, this fucking smoke nonsense, man. I mean, how slow you move, you sort of still wanna like do the normal like. Dude, you throw the knife, you can't swing immediately, dude. Are you kidding? Hey, come on, man. This guy lying down is such a little putz, dude, I tell you. Hey! Dude, our teammates are the ones smoking up the whole bloody place, dude. I shouldn't have gone for the long swing. What is this, man? I'm telling you, the throwing knife, the timing between throwing the knife and fucking pulling out your weapon and being able to swing is off. It takes too long. It takes too long. I guess the draw time, drawing out the weapon is what's taking so long. I don't know how that guy fucking backed off so well, dude, with the fucking date in his hand. Dude, I'm telling you that it's not worth throwing the throwing knives with this. It's almost like a stun, man, that you face. Dude, it really is like a stun lock, dude, when you throw it. Dude, come on. No! With my own weapon too. No. Thumbs. Yeah, that shouldn't have been a kill. What's up, Harsh? How you doing? What happened to knee? God damn it, I keep stunning myself, dude. How did that not hit him, man? Our teammates are idiots, man. Dude, Christ, man. Dude, let me swing, man. The gas. What? I didn't. What was that audio? Some sound effect you get? Oh. Hey. I should lie down, man. Do what that little dork was doing. Alright, I'm just not gonna bother with that. No! Fucking dude. What is this, man? Dude, the fucking throwing knife, man. It's such a piece of shit. No! No! I got him, man. No, what the? Dude, it really does fucking stun block you, man. When you throw the fucking knife. Like, you're fucking sitting there like an idiot. Soulrender. Melee weapon played with. I do like it, man. It's just, I honestly really, really like it. It's the throwing knife that's really, like, I didn't even realize this while grinding it. I didn't notice it. But, like, during this stream, I noticed it very clearly. Like, every time I threw it, like, there'd be a massive delay before I could swing the sword again. And it also felt like if I threw and then swung a little too early or something like that, it would almost stun lock me into this kind of like, I can't move properly kind of state. And I don't know, that might have just been me throwing the knife and not being able to move properly by not pressing the right buttons or something. But the delay between throwing the knife and being able to swing again seemed really off, which was weird. It's not the same as when you're throwing the stuns. The stuns and all, like those things that go from the other hand, and you can swing actually pretty fast after throwing that. It's particularly throwing the throwing knife and then having to redraw the sword to swing again is extremely long. I would presume that's like the weapon swap time, I guess. But man, that was so annoying. That was so annoying. Like how many times like that timing was so off for me that I felt like usually you can draw like your melee weapon really fast after throwing the knife so you can swing again. This one had this like almost, it felt longer than even a gun like pull back, right? Like because the gun at least you can start hip firing or something before you can aim down sights, right? Whereas this one you throw it and then you're pulling it out and you can't do anything while doing that. It's really annoying. But I mean, generally, I actually really like the like melee weapon because of like it is actually it's a really good melee weapon as long as you're playing it wise. And like I said in the beginning of the stream, mainly use the quick swing. Only use the long swing when you are in a safe place or you're in a desperate position where you need to like take out a riot shielder and you need that finishing move kind of styled quick takedown. I actually would like to know the difference between the long swing finishing move timing versus the actual finishing move timing. I think that would be an interesting breakdown as far as which one. I'd presume the long swing finishing move is faster than an actual finishing move. It's gotta be, right? So like it makes more sense to do that than actually do a finishing move. I presume. But yeah, melee weapon, it is fun. I think there was a lot of rage-inducing moments when grinding it out, mainly because I didn't understand the difference between the quick and the long swing. And I was trying to just run around long swinging it because I'm used to pulling the trigger when I'm using the melee like thing, right? The right trigger or the shoot button, or however that corresponds. So I'm used to that, right? So switching it to like the regular R3 button or I'm not used to pulling the L3. I mean the what's it called, L trigger. So the aim down sights trigger for melee. So that one, I'd honestly actually prefer it if they had flipped it. The short swing is on the right trigger and the long swing is on the left trigger. Because I don't really like using the melee button on like the R3. Like I use the back paddle, so it's not so bad. It's not as bad as pushing down the thumbstick, right? But I would prefer if the right trigger was the quick swing and the left trigger was the short swing. I mean the long swing. I think that would be more intuitive as far as controller layout goes for melee weapons. But I mean, overall, it's a fun weapon. Just kind of, like, well, I think. So obviously, I started streaming in Modern Warfare 2019, and that was one of the first games where I completed every single weapon master masteries, or the camo grind for every single weapon. Mainly because back before that, some of the like weapons like were locked to DLC and stuff like that, or you'd be locked to a supply loot kind of thing system, right? So you didn't necessarily always have access to all the DLC weapons, or if you did have access to it, there was a bit of a process to getting it. And that included like some of the older games, like a lot of the like Black Ops 4, they did add a bunch of melee weapons to that game, but they were all like tied to the supply loot system, supply drop system and all that. It was ridiculous. So grinding at every single weapon didn't make quite as much sense, right? Uh, but yeah, 2019 I started doing that, and then in Cold War they added so many melee weapons that I was like, no way, there's no way I'm grinding every weapon in this game, particularly not the melee weapons. And it got to a point where there was not much else to do, so I started grinding out the melee weapons and doing the master masteries. And honestly, there's a lot of fun to be had grinding out the melee weapons if you're willing to forego your like KD. If you're like hell bent on, you know, whipping your, manhood out and showing how big your KD is, then probably no, you're gonna avoid it. Like you'll be too afraid to grind out the melee weapons because you're like, that's gonna tank your KD, right? But by then I didn't really care about KD and stuff like that. I just wanted to have fun, and I liked the grind, and I enjoyed the challenges and stuff like that. So I started grinding out all the melee weapons and all in Cold War. And yeah, so basically from Modern Warfare 2019 up to now, I've ground out every single weapon, like the camo grind. Or at least I tried to. Melee weapons are actually kind of fun, man. The grind on it, like when it's not like super. Actually, the Cold War grind on melee weapons was a bit obnoxious because you had to level it up a lot. But I took that into zombies and leveled it up, so it made it a little bit more like, okay, whatever. And then the challenges were quite intensive in Cold War. So it did tank your KD a lot going for that stuff. Because, you're running around melee only while other people are gunning you down. But there's fun to be had, man. It's fun to be had. And they do interesting stuff with the melee weapons. They do. Not always, but sometimes it is fun, So don't, don't be that guy, man. It's like, I'm not going to grind out the melee weapons. I'm only going to stick with the meta weapons and all. You're missing out on some fun experiences. Like this Soulrender thing, like the mechanics of it, it's interesting and kind of different and kind of fun, when you like utilize it the right way and go off with it. Obviously, there's going to be games where you're going to like not do too well because that's just the nature of the matchmaking in this game. And anytime, even before skill-based matchmaking, melee weapons were always going to be a pain in the butt. So it's not like skill-based matchmaking made it that much more different. I guess if you're a high skill player, yeah, but after a few games, usually of melee only, you tend to get put into like a little bit chiller lobbies too. So if SBMM is kind of like triggering you, just do a little melee weapon grind and you'll get into those like chiller lobbies and stuff like that. Yeah, I had fun. Again, I'm going to repeat. I think the one big mistake with this weapon is the mapping of the like long and short swing. I think it should have been the opposite. I think the shoot trigger should have been the quick swing, and the long drawn should have been the left trigger. It would have been more intuitive, I think, as far as a controller layout goes. For me, because I have the like R3 map to my back paddle, that worked out, but I would still prefer to be pulling the trigger to do the long and short. Actually, when I first heard about this melee weapon, I thought you had to hold the left trigger and then that will charge up the weapon for the long swing. So to do the long swing, I thought you needed to like aim down sights to like hold it back and then swing with the right trigger, right? And I thought that's what the mechanics were. But it wasn't. It's like hold the right trigger and let go, and that's the long swing. And then the short swing is the left trigger. It seemed a little off. Like I said, usually I think most, like in the beginning of the grind, when everyone was grinding it out, almost everyone was making that mistake, just going for the long swing. And if you actually used any other like melee weapon, or if you knew about the quick swing, or even gunning, like if you're gunning people down, it was a slaughter fest for people running around with the Soulrender. They were just getting destroyed. I think now people might be a little bit more clued in with the quick and long swing. So the quick swing's good, man. It takes care of business better than I think some of the like combat knives and all. But if you're going for the long swing, the combat knife is gonna like out melee you before you can pull off the full swing, right? Whereas this one, I think, has slightly more range than the thing. Even if you're doing the quick swing, because of that added range, you can kind of out melee the like combat knife and stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The other thing I wanted to do, this is actually the main thing I wanted from the grind, man. Does this have any like effect? Like any like different effect from the stun? I wonder. I wonder. Maybe. I sort of want to do a quick like test on it, but I don't want to play a full match. Maybe we'll do a quick test. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Check out my streams if you haven't already, and I will catch you later. Bye. Yeah, it was fun, man. I actually enjoyed myself running around meleeing. Did better than I thought I would. I thought I'd get completely sorted, which happened 1 or 2 games, but not all the games.